Greetings, 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 greetings this evening. This is Doc I coming to you at 9. I hope everybody's out there still feeling fine. All right, tonight the proverb is clothes put on while running come off while running. So if you run into your clothes, you're going to run out of your clothes. Don't run out. Try a little fun out. That's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to have a little fun out. We're going to be reading a story today called The Deluge according to Uncle Remus. Now, you have to understand, back in the day, even today, it still happens a lot, but used to happen more back in the day. The term uncle and aunt were used in a figurative way oftentimes. So uncle could be anybody who's your elder, not your daddy. So even though it may not be your daddy's brother, it may not be your mama's brother, the man's older than you, you can call him uncle. Or if it's a woman, then you can call her auntie. And that's a term of respect. So we call him Uncle Remus. The Deluge, according to Uncle Remus. Now, y'all know about the Deluge. The Deluge, that's where, otherwise known as the flood. And there's a lot of stories told about one of the great floods, which was the one that happened, they talk about in the Bible, where the whole world got flooded and had to be repopulated. So this is Uncle Remus' version of that very same story, the flood. One time, said Uncle Remus, adjusting his spectacles so as to be able to see how to thread a large darning needle, which he was patching his coat with. One time, way back yonder, before you was born, honey, in fo Marsa, John or Miss Sally was born, way back yonder, before any of us was born, the aminals and the creatures sort of lecturing round among themselves, till at last they agreed for to have assembly. In them days, continued the old man, observing a look of incredulity on the little boy's face, in them days, creatures had lots more sense than they got now. Let alone that they had sense same like folks. It was touch and go with them too. Mind. And when they make up their minds what had to be done, 20 Morn mentioned, for it was done. Well, they elected that day at a whole assembly for to sort of straighten out matters and hear the complaints. And when the day come, they was on hand. The lion, he was there because he was the king. And he had to be there. The rhinoceros, he was there. And the elephant, he was there. And the camels and the cows and plumb down to the crawfishes, they was there. They was all there. And when the lion shook his mane, he took his seat in the big chair. Then the session began for to commence. What did they do? Uncle Remus asked the little boy. I can't scarcely call to mind exactly what they did do, but they spoke speeches and hollered and cussed and flung their language round just like when you, daddy, was going to run for the legislature and got left. Howsoever, they ranged their affairs and explained their business. By and by, while they were sputing longer one or another, the elephant trampled on one of the crawfishes. Of course, when the creature put his foot down, whatsoever's under there was bound for to be squashed. And there wasn't enough of that crawfish left for to tell that he'd even been there. This make the other crawfishes mighty mad. And they sort of swarmed together and drawed up a kind of preamble with some wherefores in it and read her out in the assembly. But bless gracious, such a racket was going on that nobody ain't hear it, excepting maybe the mud turtle. And when the spring lizard and their influence was powerful lacking. By and by, whilst the unicorn was sputing with the lion, and while the hyena was laughing to himself, the elephant squashed another one of the crayfishes. And a little more, and he'd have ruined the mud turtle. Then the crawfishes, what they was left, swarmed together and drawed up another preamble with some more wherefores. But they might as well have sung old Dan Tucker to a hurricane. The other creatures was too busy with their fussing for to respond unto the crawfishes. So there they was, the crawfishes. There they was, the crawfishes, and they didn't know what minute was going to be the next. And they kept on getting madder and madder and scareder and scareder. 12 by and by, they gunned the wink to the mud turtle and the spring lizard, and then they bored little holes in the ground and went down out of sight. Who did, Uncle Remus? Asked the little boy. The crawfishes, honey. They bored into the ground and kept on boring. 12, they unloosed the fountains of the earth, and the water squirt out and rise higher and higher till the hills was covered, and the creatures was all drowned, and all because they let on among themselves that they was bigger than the crayfishes. Then the old man blew the ashes from a smoking yam and proceeded to remove the peeling. Where was the ark, Uncle Remus? The little boy inquired presently. Which ark's that? Asked the old man in a tone of well-feigned curiosity. Noah's ark, replied the child. Don't you pester with old man Noah, honey. I bound he took her that ark. That's what he was there for. And that's what he done. Leastways, that's what they tells me. But don't you bother looking that ark, except when your mama fetches it up. There, they mount her to the jewels, the Deluges. There might have been two deluges, and then again, there mightn't have. If there was any ark in this year world, the crawfishes brung on. I ain't hearing tell of them, and when there ain't no arks around, I ain't got no time for to make them put them in there. It's getting past your bedtime, honey. About time for you to catch some 40 winks, or just go ahead and head on off to dreamland. Yet, now, believe it or not, I have read that story earlier today, but that story was so hard, as you can see. It's a struggle trying to read these stories sometimes, trying to interpret the way that they read it, the way that they wrote it. But that's how they go. And probably in the future, people be trying to read our writing and say the very same thing. They can't hardly read it. Well, at least it wasn't in fracture. Yeah, y'all probably don't know about no fracture, but there's this writing called fracture that if you do it in the old days when you had to do it, when you did a dissertation in German, You had to learn how to write in Fraktur using pens with nibs on them and India ink and everything. You had to write it all out by hand. You couldn't do no computer. So there was no such thing as doing it with a computer word processing unit. This was all, you had to mash down the keys on a typewriter. And I mean, you had to have strength in your fingers all the way down to that little finger, because that still had to hit them keys, and you had to hit them hard enough so that they all look even. You couldn't hit this one harder than you hit that one way over there with your pinky finger. Oh yeah, you had to have some, typing wasn't just for women. You had to have some men in there typing, because that stuff took some real strength. We still got the typewriter. One day maybe I'll show it to you. Meanwhile, we're checking out. You need to do the very same thing. So all you little children out there, what I need you to do is lay your head down, remove that frown from off of your face. Just take a pencil and use the one end to go ahead and erase whatever's on your face. That's what you should look like, nice and calm. Okay, that's what I want you to do. Just calm on down. Take it down a notch. That's right. Go off into a little slight meditation, and then off to La La Land. Sleep tight, sleep right, and please, whatever you do, don't let those bed bugs bite. But if they do, hit them with a shoe and give them a clue as to what they really need to do. And in the meantime, for all you adults out there tonight, you see, we got it right. We got all our cameras working again. If you're seeing this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button below. Okay, so you'll be invited to our very next show. If you're seeing this on Facebook, go ahead and give us a like, give us a share, show everybody that you really do care, spread the word, let the word be heard all over the land. At least that's how we got it planned, because what we want is we know all these stories are in demand. People just don't know they want them yet. So you need to help us spread them around so that they can realize that they really need all these stories. These are the original stories. We're bringing it to you raw and uncut right here at Black Facts Central. So we'll be back. Remember, the show is Doc Ock at noon and 9. We'll be back tomorrow, and everything's going to be fine for tonight because you're going to be feeling right. Peace out without a doubt. We'll see you next time.